We're good. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. It's the aftermath. I'm Chad Jensen. That's Zack Kelberman. I don't know what happened on our initial go live on the stream. We were live for like 6 seconds, and then all of a sudden the stream just winked out. And instead of, unfortunately, just being able to hit go again, you actually have to recreate a stream, which on one hand, it's not that big of a deal. It's a little bit of a time suck, not too much. But the worst part is we have Lady D and others throwing down very generous supers in this instance before we went live that we can still read, but I don't have any way now of flashing them on the screen. So I really apologize for that. Don't know why that happened, and all we can do is send in a ticket to StreamYard. So sorry, guys. Love you, appreciate you. But Zach, here we are in the aftermath of the Broncos' big upset. We call it an upset because technically they were the underdog. They sure as heck didn't look like underdogs, though, Zach. And today, as Bo Nix would call it, I guess, the overdogs, right? We're the overdogs. But today, the Broncos, we have a lot to talk about because they claimed a running back off of waivers, Cody Schrader. We'll get into him. We'll talk about him a little bit. And then, unfortunately, Zach, Brandon Jones headed to IR. Break it down for everybody. And then we'll grab Lady D and all these awesome comments and supers.
Yeah, so again, guys, sorry about the technical difficulties there, but in the case of Brandon Jones, he went down in the first half against the Packers yesterday with a pectoral injury, the same injury, if you recall, that PS2 dealt with earlier this season. He underwent additional testing. He's having a second opinion on that pec injury. He had an MRI. He will be placed on IR. He'll miss the next 4 games, and that'll extend into the postseason. So he'll miss the next 3 final regular season games, and then the first game of the postseason. PJ Locke now is starting next to Huff. So it's kind of a downgrade there in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, it really is. It's a little bit scary. Now, here's where I'm going to err, Zach, on the side of optimism and hope here, because even though PJ Locke turned in, like, we got really excited about him the second half of the 2023 season, the season he kind of emerged and earned that contract when Kareem Jackson was getting suspended left and right, and he played really, really well. So much so that they extended him, gave him a 2-year contract, and brought him in last year to be the assumed starter, one of the 2 safeties alongside Brandon Jones. And then we all know how his 2024 season, Zach, kind of shook out, and he just wasn't the same player. And then we found out later about, what was it, summer, as summer was starting, he announced on his YouTube channel that he had undergone like a crazy back surgery. He had been, in other words, Zach, dealing with gnarly back pain, like excruciating, extreme back pain throughout all of last season. So I'm not inclined to judge him on last season as much now. And what I've seen from him thus far in 2025, Zach, albeit spot duty, third guy here, a lot of special teams, he has looked better. So I am encouraged by that. PJ Locke, Talanoa Hufanga, that's your safety tandem for the foreseeable.
And I think having better players around him in the secondary, getting better coaching from Jim Leonard will make PJ Locke better as a spot starter. But it is a big blow for the Broncos, no doubt about it. Every elite defense, legendary defense, has that one unheralded player. The 2015 Broncos had Darian Stewart in the secondary. That's what I feel Brandon Jones is. He was a super underrated signing, super underrated player, and hopefully the Broncos can mask his absence for the next 4 games.
All right, real quick here, guys. Lots more. We're going to talk about Schrader and all that stuff, but I'm going to try and do this. Let's see if this will work for me. Hold on one second. If I can flash it like this, this will work. Before we even went live here, on the previous stream that went ski-wampus, whatever the heck happened, we had a immensely generous Merry Christmas super chat from Lady D. And here it is right here. She said, Merry Christmas, Chad, Zach, Scott, and Broncos country. Sending love your way. Hoping everyone has a blessed Christmas holiday. Getting ready to go to North Carolina. She has family there. So I might miss a few podcasts. Great game yesterday. I thought overall everyone played well. Bo Nix was looking strong. 12-2 and clinched playoffs. It's amazing. MHH for life. Well, hey, Lady D, first of all, thank you so much. Merry Christmas, back at you. Happy holidays, etc. Give your family our best. Safe travels. That's a goodly distance you're going to be traveling. You and David from Alaska all the way to the southeast coast of the USA. So safe travels. I'm sure you're going to have a blast, and we'll see you when we see you on the next one. But thank you so much, Lady D. Much love and respect. Zach,
Yep.
the good news is this super chat didn't go anywhere. It's just we couldn't flash it on the screen. It's still there and everything. It's just this is the best we could do. But Lady D, she was stoked on what she saw yesterday, and including, of course, clinching the playoffs.
Yeah, Deanna, thank you so much for that generosity. Of course, I agree with your Broncos insights. They're always common sense and very cogent. But I also appreciate what you've done for us the entire year, not just the holidays, but you've been literally keeping the lights on and making the community that much better just with your presence. It was a pleasure to meet you at the meet and greet, and I look forward to that again next year. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for your generosity.
And it was, I think, Zach, Bo Nix's best game as a pro. Like, he's had some big days. Yeah, he's had, I think, was that his third 4-touchdown game? If not his third, it was definitely he's at least his second. But in the stakes and in the situation and with all the pressure of a 10-game winning streak and underdog and all the scrutiny, for him to turn in that performance, that caliber, and against the quality of an opponent, so encouraging, guys, so encouraging. But Lady D, love you so much. Papa Bear also jumped in before things went weird on that previous stream. Thank you, pal, saying Merry Christmas, Broncos country. 13-4 plus hashtag God bless the USA. Thank you, Papa Bear. It means the world to us. You know that, buddy, your support. And then Sam Bam, Zach, said, hey, guys, Broncos are 12-2. How awesome is that? They showed what they're made of, coming back down 9 in the game yesterday and getting the win over a good Packers team. The number 1 seed in the AFC shall be ours. Go Broncos. Well, it was also, thank you, Sam, helped along, Zach, the pursuit of the number 1 seed by the fact that Patriots, even though the Broncos had the tiebreaker, blah, 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 Patriots lost and the Broncos won. So now they've got that game of separation plus the tiebreaker.
Right. Thank you so much, Sam, for that. And it's incredible what Sean Payton's done with the Broncos. I tweeted that today. The 3 seasons before Sean Payton arrived, they went 5-11, 7-10, and 5-12. 3 seasons with Sean Payton, 8-9, 10-7, and 12-2 and counting. It is remarkable. Thank you so much again, man.
Man, I'm trying to see. And it's still bugging me so much that happened. I can't believe that happened. But anyway, yes, guys, we got some really cool stuff cooking. By the way, yesterday we launched the brand new MHH Discord server, and the link to come join us, it's free. It's just another way to hang out and be part of the MHH community outside and beyond. And in addition to these live streams, the link is the first link in the description in this video. So come join us over there. Let's build that thing up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Zach, let's talk about this new running back the Broncos claimed off waivers. And it's kind of interesting because since J.K. Dobbins went down with that foot injury that landed him on IR, they've had a few opportunities. I mean, they've had an opportunity every day if they wanted to sign or add a running back. But they've specifically had a few kind of slightly higher profile opportunities, at least in the form of, I just brain farted his name. What was his name? Damian. What is his name?
Damian Pierce.
Yes, thank you. Which they were interested, but not to a point where they were willing to put in a waiver claim. And yet, after yesterday's game, they do exactly that, and they bring in their claim off waivers, Cody Schrader. And so he joins, oddly enough, Zach, I guess technically we can say in back-to-back Mondays, the Broncos have added a running back. In this case, it's off the waiver wire. Schrader going to the 53. Last Monday, it was Sincere McCormick on the practice squad where he remains. But what do we know about Schrader? He went undrafted last year out of Missouri, and he signed – basically he spent time with the Niners, the Rams, the Jags, and then very briefly – the Texans, who just barely waived him. He's got 2 total touches as a pro, Zach, in the regular season, a catch for 6 yards and a carry for 3. We can get into what was said about him, kind of a scouting report, why he went undrafted, what he brings to the table. But he's definitely a little bit more, Zach, of a plotter. Like, he's not super explosive, and yet he has very good vision for the type of zone stuff that the Broncos are trying to work more and more into their offense. So what are your thoughts of Schrader hitting this 53-man roster?
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I'll be upfront. I see Scott saying something I agree with. He has 1 carry for 6 yards in his career. It doesn't mean RJ Harvey is out for an extended period. It doesn't mean that they're shaking up the running back room. This is purely for depth and insurance purposes, Chad. The other point, you made it as well about Dameon Pierce. I wonder if he regrets now not signing with the Broncos and signing with the Chiefs, who have been eliminated from postseason contention. The other point, really quickly, he did spend time, obviously, Schrader did with the Jaguars. That's Sean Payton at work, trying to get a competitive advantage and maybe trying to glean some information about Jacksonville's playbooks. I wouldn't read too much into it.
Yeah, it's definitely depth. But my question here, Zach, is do they bring him in, Schrader, if RJ doesn't suffer the rib injury? That's a question. Now, that doesn't mean, as Scott says, he's not being brought in, Schrader, to replace a starter. You don't bring in a dude off the street this deep into the season unless you're super, super desperate, like your 1, 2, 3, and 4 guys are like down for the count. Then you do what you got to do. But you still have Jaleel McLaughlin. You still have Tyler Bidet. But if RJ Harvey, Zach, doesn't suffer that rib injury that kept him out of whatever it was, the second half of the fourth quarter, do they still bring in Schrader?
No, they wouldn't need him. It's purely for depth purposes. They're down a running back temporarily. We'll know more about Harvey's status as the week goes on, but they wouldn't need him. And they still have Deuce Vaughn on the practice squad, by the way. So they have, in case of emergency, funds if they need to use them.
Yes, absolutely. And lots more to get to, guys, including we're going to say hello to the members here in a moment and get some of your comments and questions. I'm still a little bit thrown off balance by the spookiness of that stream opening and then dying and us having to relaunch it. But guys, lots more to get to tonight, and we're going to be getting there. But first, listen up, y'all. The holidays, it's all about finding the perfect gift, but this time of year, not every deal is actually what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like, you got to watch for this stuff, fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card, so you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. So stay one step ahead of the scams this season, gang, and keep your money secure with Cash App.
And for a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash for real. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
All right, there we go. All right, let's see what's on the minds. What are you guys thinking about this new running back, and how are you feeling about Brandon Jones? Jordan Lewis says it's a bummer for sure, but I trust PJ Locke. All right. Cairo Sweet, good to see you. Hi, guys. Love our Broncos. Yes, indeed. It feels good to be a Broncos fan right now. That is for sure. It always does, but especially now. Chase says, Cliff says Jones is getting a second opinion. Not a good sign. Yeah, but the team already announced he's going to IR, so there is that. Nathan, good to see you, buddy. Maybe the StreamYard higher-ups are Packers fans. Yeah, they're still salty. Sue, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Also, Albert's in the house, the Mile High Dutchie. Great to have you, big dog. M. Blex is like, I'm here to party version 2 at the top because we had to restart the stream. Always fun when we have little StreamYard hiccups. But anyway, M. Blex said, might not be the same injury. There are 2 separate pec muscles. Yeah, this is true. This is true. We shall see. Chase, maybe Jahdae Baranzak gets some snaps at safety. That has been an increasingly kind of popular hypothesis on X and among Broncos country. Do you see it happening?
I think it was a few games ago he got the first snap at safety. I can't remember what game that was. I don't know if Huff was off the field or Jones was off the field, but they're kind of slowly working him into the mix there. I don't think they wanted to put too much on his plate too quickly. That's why they kept him at cornerback. But now with Jones out, they might need him there to necessitate those coverage snaps at covering tight ends and running backs and such. So maybe a little bit, but they really do have confidence, Sean Payton said, in PJ Locke.
It's kind of interesting. Barron can offer you so much, but they kind of have a good thing going right now with that cornerback rotation. Some people, and I'm not sure exactly how much it continued yesterday against the Packers, but some people have been a little bit critical of how much Vance Joseph has been rotating the corners, even since Pat Surtain's been back. And they do have a good thing going, though. I mean, as far as locking down the tight ends for the most part, and Barron is just getting more and more confident as time goes on. Do you want to interrupt what he's got cooking as a cornerback and put him at safety and make him kind of relearn things? He could do it, Zach, but PJ Locke's going to get the first bite at the apple.
Yeah, plus they have other members of the secondary, other young up-and-coming backups that can get some snaps as well. And listen, if they pressure Trevor Lawrence enough and these other quarterbacks they're going to face, then who's starting at safety might not matter all that much.
A shout out to the Ronk, also in the house. We got Pearl, who said, I had to restart my iPhone. Yeah, it was probably our fault, or StreamYard's fault anyway, for whatever was going on there. Ronk says, oh, and this is an interesting point, but I didn't even think of this yet. He's saying, pass on bringing back Justin Simmons. Let's move on, bringing back former Bronco players. Let the other Bronco young defenders develop their craft. It's kind of surprising to me, Zach, that to this very moment in time, Justin Simmons has been unsigned like through the entire 2025 season. He's been doing a little bit of media stuff here and there. He says he's staying in football shape, but it doesn't seem like that's a reasonable, is it reasonable? Yeah, plausible thing the Broncos would do.
I think he's still a free agent because his last couple seasons on tape in Atlanta and with the Broncos were not very good, Chad, and the league kind of moved on from him. And both in the NFL and in life, one expression is true. X's are X's for a reason, and Simmons is one of the Broncos' X's. I agree with you, Rock. Move forward with the players you have and let that era be in the past.
And he was just one of those guys where, I think Bowles is the only exception, Zach, of the guys who were steady individual contributors and producers. Sutton as well. So Sutton, Bowles, they remain, but Sean Payton kind of wanted to clear out some of those older veterans who, it's not that they were losers, but there was just this kind of malaise. You talk about a team that, remember this phrase I'm about to spit, you heard it a million times from us. They had forgotten how to win, right? Like all that stuff. And you kind of needed to clear out the leadership a little bit and start over, and look what it's built to already. And unfortunately, it might not be fair entirely, but I do wonder how much of that played a part in the Broncos' decision to cut him. But would they have cut him, Zach, if they hadn't had to make so many hardcore decisions in the wake of also, of course, releasing Russ?
It was, in hindsight, they made the right move. It was a cap-related maneuver. The Broncos cleared a bunch of cap space, and Simmons fell off a cliff after that. The thing with the leadership, you make a good point there. It's true. They needed that in the locker room at a certain time because they didn't have a franchise quarterback. Simmons was the locker room leader. Now they have a franchise quarterback. They have a winning culture in place. They don't need the extra bit of leadership. They're getting it from different sources. So again, you don't need Simmons. As good as he was for the Broncos, that era is over. And I agree with you. I don't think you want to bring in any remnants of the past into this new locker room, contaminate it that way.
Yeah. So amen to that, Ronk. It does kind of hurt my heart that he wasn't able to be here long enough to enjoy some of the fruits of his labors for the Broncos, but sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. Pro 16 agrees 100% with the Ronk for what it's worth. And then he also says the Broncos have proved they can win with just an average run game. Yes, that's true, but as time marches on, Zach, it makes me more and more uncomfortable that they just can't get things cooking without JK.
Listen, the games are only going to get more competitive. The opponent's tougher, the weather colder. You can get by with the mediocre run game, but you can't expect Bo Nix to throw 4 touchdowns every single game. You've got to give him some help. That was the biggest bugaboo last season. And without Dobbins and Harvey, the running game has reverted right back to 24. So you got to figure out a way to get the consistently above average running game going.
Yeah, so here I'm glad Lady D found her way back in, saying that she got kicked out. We all got kicked out, by the way, on that, Lady D. If you missed it at the top of the show, sorry about that. And thank you so much for that phenomenal super chat. We did read it. If you rewind the show, you'll see it. But thank you so much. And again, we love you and appreciate you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and yours, and safe travels to North Carolina.
Yeah, thank you again so much, Deanna.
Ronk also pointing out here, Sean Payton said this morning that he's focused on winning the AFC West, and the number one goal is winning the AFC West, then the playoffs, then the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, but it's kind of crazy, Zach, how in this instance, the Broncos clinched the playoffs before they clinched the division, which is crazy to me to think that they've come that far. And they're the only team in the AFC, right, that have clinched. Like everyone else is still quote unquote in the hunt. So yeah, I mean, this is Sean Payton, Zach, kind of speaking to the we're gonna play in bigger games thing here, like the bigger goals. It's all about the Super Bowl. That's what they're really after. Is it the number one goal? Yeah. But like Bo was saying after the game in that same Zach little who was it he was talking to? Was it who's the CBS?
Tracy Wolfson.
Tracy Wolfson. When he's saying that, you know, the next game is the next biggest game, and one step leads to the next. And it was a little bit kind of gobbledygook, but what he was trying to say is, you know, we can't get to the Super Bowl without making the playoffs, and, you know, in this case, winning the division will be a bonus, but they've already clinched. Let's go Super Bowl.
This is, you know, the Pat Bowlen standard. This is the Sean Payton standard. I think he's emphasizing that he's not going to be happy with just clinching, and winning the division is only step one. Obviously, he has bigger goals in mind, but a quick, interesting stat that I found pretty intriguing. The last 3 years, teams that have clinched first have all made the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Ricky, a dear member, Aqib Talib said on the arena that we should bring in Diggs since the Cowboys don't want him. What do you think? Zach, you spent time a few years back covering the Cowboys. What it sounds like Trevon Diggs' days as a Cowboy are getting close. They're not. It's numbered. What are your thoughts on bringing him in?
Well, I mean, when I covered him, he was still an elite cornerback, but that was years ago now. And Chad, if Broncos fans hate Riley Moss for how much he gets burned in pass coverage, they would have a conniption over Diggs in the secondary. He's a all or nothing type of cornerback. He gambles for the pick six, and when he doesn't get it, he tends to give up long plays or touchdowns. I would 1,000% rather continue investing in Riley Moss and Chris Abrams' dream than make a play for Diggs.
I mean, his days of picking off 11 passes are well in the rear view.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, it's cool that Aqib's saying it, right? Like if Aqib says it, hey, but I think the Broncos have a very good young cornerback room, whatever you want to call it. And if PS2 is your elder statesman in the room, Zach, I mean, how old is he? 24, 20, 25? Let's see, 21. 22, 23, 24. He's in his 5th season, and he's your elder statesman. Like, that's a young room that can continue to grow together. I mean, Riley's got one more year, and then this time next year, he'll be, you know, a month away from free agency, basically. But they got one more year with Riley. McMillan's a RFA after this season. They'll tender him or at least find a way to bring him back. That you can count on. Abrams Drain, you got another couple years with him, and obviously Barron's a rookie. So it's really exciting. It's a young room that's going to continue to grow and get even better, especially with that example and leadership at the top, PS2.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Barron in there as well. You used a first-round pick on him. He's showing high upside in certain instances and situations. Invest in him, invest in Moss, invest in Abrams Drain. You don't need Diggs in your secondary.
Lady D jumping in again, this
Thank
time
you.
on a super chat that we can click on because it's in the stream. And don't worry, that it's not like the super chat disappears. It still stays with the channel and everything, even though that stream lasted 8 seconds. We don't know what happened, by the way. So we're going to send in a support ticket after the show to StreamYard. But Lady D jumping in again. Love you so much. She says, I think it's his attitude. That's why Justin Simmons isn't being asked back. The media is doing backstrokes regarding Bo. I'm hoping we get the 1 seed. No Diggs, same attitude. Use our guys to get the experience. Happy with this team, MHH for life. Yeah, Zach, what have you seen on this subject of the media takes on Bo Nix over the last 24 hours?
What you're going to start seeing more and more now is some people, not everyone, but some who have heavily criticized Bo Nix or the Broncos in the past. They're going to try to jump on the bandwagon with effusive praise because the Broncos are 12-2, best record in football, #1 team in the AFC. Don't let them forget their past takes. If Nick Wright suddenly comes out and credits the Broncos, don't let him forget. That's the nature of the business, though. You're still going to get the types, so Deanna, that will hold true to the fact that they are waiting for the Broncos to blow it in the playoffs. They're waiting for Bo Nix to implode in the postseason. We don't really care about them. Let them hate. But I am seeing, Chad, slowly the national media narrative tend to shift in the Broncos' favor. But they have a ways to go before they earn our trust.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. But if Bo continues to put in, pardon me, those kind of performances like you saw against Green Bay, I mean, those are marquee games, marquee production, like top shelf. He'll make believers out of everybody, even those guys that are still trying to protect their pre-2024 draft takes. If he can continue with that kind of, does it need to be 4 touchdowns per game? No, but that guy who's just a surgeon. I am a surgeon. That reminds me, that the Instagram reel I sent you a while back, Zach, of the film cut-ups and that guy. Yeah, I am a surgeon. I can't remember the name of the handle, but it's funny as heck. Lady D, we love you. You know this. Thank you, my friend. Bro, I missed the announcement yesterday. What was the announcement? We launched the MHH Discord, so come join us. The link's in the description. And come be a part of this thing. We need you. We need you, buddy. Andrew, we love you back, big dog. Good to see you. Welcome. Leroy on Facebook, a longtime member of our community and commenter. Great to see you, bud. He says, I think folks are caught up to the superstar recognition name instead of who the player really is. In other words, because Diggs is garbage. Yeah, he's not been so good, Zach, the last couple of seasons in particular. And as you said, he's very boomer bust.
And like you said, he's not going to have a season where he picks off 11 passes again. And you're right, Leroy. He has the name value. Just like Sauce Gardner had the name value and recognition over PS2. That's why so many people were saying he's the better corner when we all really knew better. But I agree with you. I don't know about garbage, but he's not the player that people hype him up to be. And he hasn't been for quite a while.
Guys, we have lots more to get to. But first, really quick, listen up, guys. Football season, it's still in full swing, right? We're hitting the home stretch. There's still great opportunities for you to win money watching football with Underdog. That is the best place to get in on all the action. You got to be ready. Get in off the bench and into the game. Head to Underdog, download the app in the app stores. Whether you're into, of course, this is a football podcast, guys, but it's not just football. It could be basketball, hockey, any sport in between. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action all season long.
That's right. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks correct, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash.
It's so much fun, guys, playing Underdog. And just, again, the opportunity, if you like the feeling of fantasy football and being able to have the chance to win money while you're enjoying your favorite sport, you'll absolutely crush and love Underdog. Download the app today, Underdog. Sign up with our promo code MHuddle to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Still in there. Hold on. There it is. Turn that off.
19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska.
There we go.
19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right. I don't know. It's been like a month since we've done our Underdog partnership, so we're a little rusty, but guys, it is the bomb. You're going to love it. All right, back to the conversation, and I want to grab Leroy one more time here, who says, Priest, I have an idea. Bo Nix made a comment yesterday about us being, when he was asked about being underdogs, he said, no, we are overdogs. Make a shirt with that slogan. I promise you it will sell out. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Leroy. I'll get my design guy on that as soon as this show is over. That's a great idea, bro. I love it, Zach.
Yeah, checks in the mail, Leroy. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Great idea. Lady D reminding everybody to hit the like button, please. All right, real quick, Zach. I want to take a look at the playoff picture. I mean, as we know, the Broncos did officially clinch yesterday a playoff berth, but there's still a row left to hoe when it comes to winning the division and the 1 seed. So here's what it's looking like. Let me flash this on screen. We'll do some
Look at that.
Some scratch and sniff here.
Look at
so
that.
Broncos first,
Beautiful.
Rams, they're in, both teams. In the hunt, Patriots, Jaguars, who the Broncos played this week. Steelers in the 4 seed, Chargers in the 5, Bills in the 6, Texans currently. So if the playoffs were starting this coming weekend, that would be your 7 teams. Broncos would have the bye, etc. And then in the hunt are teams like the Colts, who've had some real bad injury luck the last couple weeks, trying to make hay, Zach, with a, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. I mean, it's a great story. Then you've got the Ravens, who have stayed alive, which is good because that means they got to beat the Patriots, and you want the Patriots to keep losing. The Dolphins also are still alive, which is good because they also play the Patriots to close out the season. So, and then just so we're covering both sides of the street, Bears are number 2 seed behind the Rams in the NFC. Then it's the Eagles, Bucks. It's crazy, Scott, that at 7-7, the Bucks are leading in the NFC South. Anyway, Seahawks in the 5th seed, despite being 11-3. That's crazy. Niners, because of course they're number 2 in the NFC West. And then Niners are 6, Packers are 7. The Broncos dropped them a little bit. And then the Lions still in the hunt, Panthers, Cowboys, surprisingly, even at 6-7-1, still in the hunt, Zach. So there's the official playoff picture, not counting tonight's game.
I think the Rams and the Seahawks play Thursday, so that should be a pretty good game in the NFC.
Yes. Chaos Josh in the house, the Boot Boy 90. Good to see you, pal. He's saying no on Diggs. Moss Barron, Abrams Drain, and last but not least, J-Mac. All these dudes have filled in and proven they can handle the heat. We're already set. Yeah, agreed. And by the way, Zach, I liked what Sean Payton said about the Riley Moss PI yesterday. That holy cow, but the word he would use to describe it starts with an A. What do you suppose? Use a rhyme word, Zach, that he could have been talking about that starts with the letter A.
I'm not sure.
I'll throw one out. Bass. Maybe. I don't know. What could it be? That's just me guessing. That's not me saying this is what he meant, but that was a bad call, guys. A bad call. And I was really stoked to see Riley Moss, the football gods, kind of smiled down on him and said, yeah, karma, the wheel of karma turns. You've been putting in that work. Here's a pick. I loved it. Both he and PS2 yesterday, Zach, getting picks. PS2's was an amazing individual play. Moss got a little bit lucky that it got popped up, but credit to him for being heads up and hauling it in.
It seemed like the PS2 pick kind of turned the momentum of the game a little bit in the Broncos' favor, but point well taken. Boot boy
Yep.
here. The Broncos have the new no-fly zone, and if I'm Denver, I'm thinking about signing J-Mac to a long-term extension, not even letting him reach restricted free agency in the offseason.
For those who are wondering who the Broncos signed that are just joining us, you can always rewind it, but real quick, they signed, well, they didn't sign him, they claimed him off waivers. Running back by the name of Cody Schrader, second-year player. He's been mostly kind of a practice squad guy his year and 3/4 in the league, but he spent time this regular season with the Jaguars, couple months with the Jags, then the Texans just barely, very short, brief time, cup of coffee type thing. Then they waived him. But Zach, the timing of them bringing him in with the Jaguars on the schedule this week, there's a debrief opportunity there, even if it wasn't the primary motivator.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that actually is the primary motivator, or at least I'm assuming. I'm not reading too much into the RJ Harvey injury and linking both things together. I don't think correlation equals causation here in this instance, Chad. But again, we'll know more on Harvey as the week goes on, and hopefully he won't miss any time with that ribs injury.
Yes. Yeah, fingers crossed. And if he were to miss time, what you would see is Schrader, maybe he dresses this week, if not the next week or whatever. But the two guys that would carry the load are Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet, if anything were to happen in terms of Harvey's injury causing him to miss time. So, and this is what I said yesterday, Ronk. You got the Orange Crush, you got the no-fly zone. Two of the most iconic defensive units in NFL history, and obviously the two on their own legendary units of the Broncos. Zach, I like this because it's its own thing, calling it the Orange Rush, while also paying homage to the 77 era squad that created the Orange Crush thing. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I guess that can work as a nickname. The only thing I know, Chad, is the Broncos defense has a white Bronco. So that's as far as I'm going to go with nicknames.
There you go. And this is true. Sue, the Raiders, where careers go to die. Yeah, it's a good example of when Sean Payton said what attracted him to the Broncos. It started with ownership, right? Like he knew that these type of people, the owners, the give you everything you need to win type thing, not meddle, good decision makers, proven themselves in the arena of life. I mean, the Waltons, the Penners, like they know what they're doing. They know how to be successful. Whereas you look at the Raiders, Zach, and it's Mark Davis inheriting everything from his father, who was a true winner and a pioneer and an innovator in the NFL. RIP Al Davis. We all freaking hated him while he was alive because he was the Raiders guy, but he actually did a lot of good for the league and especially for the AFL, becoming part of the NFL and all that stuff. But when he died, Zach, the apple fell relatively far from the tree because they won, 3 Super Bowls with Al Davis over the decades. He was the guy. And since he's passed, man, they've had a couple of playoff berths here and there. They were on track to things being okay with John Gruden. And then, of course, we all know what happened there, et cetera. But that's the reason why it starts at the top, guys, as far as the Raiders. Colin, good to see you tonight, bro. Do we bring back Simmons with Jones going on IR? Seeing a lot of discourse about it. Feel like we'd be fine as a replacement. So we have talked about this quite a bit already, Colin, in tonight's show, and that's okay. You're a stud, dude. You're a superstar and a member, so we're happy to attack it again. But the Cliff Notes version is, I don't think you need him. But Zach, you can fill in more for Colin here.
Yeah, Cullen, I just think you moved on for a reason. And in hindsight, the Broncos made the 100% right decision to move on from Simmons when they did. He was too expensive. His play on the field was falling off, and you can't justify paying that much money for locker room leadership. Now they're getting it from their quarterback. They're getting it from their coaching staff. They're full of leadership. They have a winning culture. Simmons came from a losing culture. Like Chad said, that's just the way it goes sometimes in the NFL. And X's are X's for a reason. I would let this one slide.
Pro 16 says Trevor Lawrence is 0-2 lifetime against the Broncos. I'm trying to remember when what was it? 23? Was it 23? Denver.
The
No.
high knees game with Russ. The London game?
Right. That's right. Yeah. I'm just looking at yeah, that's right. 17-21. So the Broncos won that one. Anyway, it's going to be a fun matchup. I'm excited for it, man. I think it's another great test for the Broncos. I don't think the Jags are any scarier than the Packers were in terms of quality opponent. I would say the Packers are a significantly more proven and quality team, but they got hit hard by the injury bug yesterday. But then so did the Broncos, for what it's worth. I mean, each team lost a starter, Micah Parsons, and Brandon Jones. Now, you can argue that the magnitude of Green Bay's loss of Parsons was greater, and that would be true, but it's still that's football. It's the way it shakes out. Brad Murdoch, good to see you, big dog. Thank you for the super chat and for being a dear member. He says, just a quick shout out to everyone. Thanks for a great show, guys. Broncos for life. Yeah, buddy. Good to see you. It started out a little wonky because our stream went live and then died 8 seconds in. We had to hurry and recreate a new stream. But here we are, Zach. We persevere. It's the MHH pod.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brad. And just to tack on to what you were saying about the Jaguars, Chad, personally, I'm not a big believer in them. Maybe they'll prove me wrong on Sunday, but it does even out because they're going to be down a running back. They have the rookie runner, Bashal Tutin. He is not going to be playing on Sunday. He had finger surgery, I think. They do have Travis Etienne, though, who's one of the best running backs in the league. The Broncos will have to key in on him, but if they do, I expect them to get after Trevor Lawrence and force some turnovers.
See Chang saying, I'm not too worried about the Jags.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, man, he's about to experience something not too fun in the form of this Orange Rush defense. Todd Ostendorf, a dear member, says, oh, yeah, the sauce is no more in Jetland. Or are they talking about, oh, I see. Sue Gibson, Todd, the Jets are terrible. Trades of Sauce Gardner, traded Sauce Gardner, the only decent player. Yeah, and Quinnen Williams. Williams first, right? Then Gardner, and then Gardner's been hurt, dealing with injury issues in Indy. That's their problem, though, Zach. Definitely not ours. But Pat Surtain, in my opinion, continues to separate himself from Sauce, in terms of the career bona fides and overall NFL resume.
Well, we can all clown on the Jets, but I would happily take Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson off their hands.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you think they're going to do at the end of the season? You think Aaron Glenn survives?
Man, probably. I don't think Woody Johnson wants to pay another head coach. I think they're going to go after another quarterback. I've heard Kyler Murray could be a trade option for the Jets, so we'll see what happens there. They're just a cursed franchise, though, Chad. Every year, same old crap.
They whistled past the graveyard with Joe Namath and that iconic number 1 going off the field, right? Against, was it Baltimore? I'm trying to remember my NFL history.
Morale.
Yes. And it's like that used up all their – it's kind of like the Broncos had to pay the piper. After Super Bowl 50, the football gods or the football wheel of karma said, okay, now you got to suffer for 8 years. And you don't just get the best quarterback of the era out of the thin air, whatever, in Peyton Manning, have 4 years of astounding success, win it all, and then just get to go on being like a juggernaut. That's only for like the Steelers, or not so much the Steelers, the Packers is who I was thinking, right? Going from Favre to Rodgers to Love. I don't know why they haven't had to pay the piper on the wheel of karma, but I'm getting a little long-winded here. But the Jets, what I'm saying is football gods, cut them some slack here, man. That was 50-something years ago.
Yeah, remember in Big Daddy, those damn Jets, what Julian said? That's rings true even 25 years later, Chad. We had to suffer as Broncos fans and media for 8 years in the hellhole that was quarterback purgatory. Jets fans are suffering for 48 years. I do feel bad for them on some level.
Yeah, no doubt. A little bit of football pity, no doubt about it. All right, let me grab a couple more items here from the members. Ricky Flores says, I absolutely love seeing that 1 seed again. It's been so long. Yeah, almost a decade. I mean, a decade, right? Not almost. The 2015 Broncos were the last 1-seeded Broncos team, and that was this is the 11th season, right? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. No, the 10th season. It's exactly 10 seasons. What am I thinking? So it feels good, man. 10 years, though. It's a long time, Zach. It's a long time. MHH, it had, when the Broncos won that Super Bowl, MHH had existed for 2 seasons, 2 full Broncos seasons. And I can remember it like yesterday, but at the same time, it's kind of like when you think about your kids, they're born, you're like, seems like yesterday. And then you also can feel the intervening years. And then you start going, kind of feeling your age a little bit. Same thing as it applies, Zach, to that 2015 whirlwind and just that, the Peyton Manning era. But it's good to see there's a new era, the Bo Nix, Sean Payton era, and it's just getting started.
The Broncos also have their best record through 14 games, 12-2 since the 98 season. And ... they won the chip that season. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned indeed. I love it. Harbingers that add up. I love that. Ronk says, I saw that the Broncos can clinch the AFC West with a win against Jacksonville and the Chiefs. Yeah, because that would create too little runway for the Chargers to make a dent in that 2-game lead. So I think Eric had the article earlier today. I'm not going to go read it, but I think, Zach, can they clinch this coming week with wins and a little help? I mean, if the Chargers lose and they win and there's 2 left, yeah, I mean, they could clinch if they beat the Chargers, or pardon me, if they beat the Jags and the Chargers lose next week. That would create a 3-game gap with 2 games left, right? So I think that's how they could possibly clinch. But if the Chargers win and the Broncos win, then it goes to week 17.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the official scenarios yet, but that sounds about right to me. The Broncos just simply, though, Ronk, have to worry about who's in front of them right now, and a surging Jacksonville team is in front of them. Take care of business and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, so that's the clinch, or that's the scenario. If the Broncos win and the Chargers lose next week, Broncos win the AFC West. Who do the Chargers play next week? Let me double check it here. Week 16. So they play, where the heck are they? There they are. Cowboys, Zach, in Dallas.
It's tough to relying on them, Dak Prescott, and they're known to be chokers, but hopefully those are 2 choking franchises going face-to-face. Hopefully one chokes less, and that's the Cowboys on Sunday.
Yeah. This is the one team, Pro 16. I was talking about this yesterday. The Ravens aren't the team that they've been in recent years. The Texans are a little bit concerning, but we kind of have seen the Broncos in the face of that team, and they prevailed. The one team that makes me a little nervous, it's not the Patriots, like in terms of thinking of the playoffs and who the Broncos could play. Bills coming to Denver wouldn't scare me as much, but if the Broncos had to go to upstate New York again, and I grant, Zach, a big part of that is still probably the trauma of seeing how bad the beatdown was last year in the wild card round, but the Bills are really the only team that gives me some genuine concern. Now, that doesn't mean you don't take every opponent seriously, Zach, when the playoffs do get here, of course. Like, respect it. It's playoffs. It's fight for your life. It's qualifying for the tournament. Like, these teams are good teams, but the Bills, in terms of the way these teams match up, the history, all that stuff, they're the one team in the AFC that's alive for the playoffs. That does give me more than a little pause, and then the Texans would be the next one.
And to be fair, I mean, I understand they're going to Charger eventually, but they beat the Broncos. The Broncos have 2 losses this season. The Chargers did beat them. They swept Bo Nix last season.
Yeah.
So they're right on the Broncos' tails as well. That is one team, Chad, that also kind of makes me go, a little bit in the playoff field.
That's a fair point, dude. That's, in fact, I would reorganize based on that reminder. I would say Bills, Chargers, Texans. Those would be the 3 teams I would want to least face in the playoffs. Like, give me the Patriots all day long, dude, over those teams. But yeah, that's a monkey that Bo Nix and Sean Payton's that got to get off their back this year. They have yet to beat the Chargers since Jim Harbaugh showed up, 0-3 against him. And it's crazy because, I mean, how many games have the Broncos lost since Jim Harbaugh came to the AFC West? 9 games. So literally 1/3 of the team's losses in these 2 seasons have been to the Chargers. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the coaching staff over there. Coaching. Harbaugh has Bo Nix's number, and I think Ryan Minter is the defensive coordinator. He did a bang-up job guarding the Broncos offense last time. So we'll see what happens in the postseason. I wouldn't feel 100% confident if we drew LA.
Well, it's like people were saying yesterday, even the broadcast, this could be a preview of a Super Bowl matchup, Broncos-Packers, rehashing Super Bowl 33. But I think it's looking more like Broncos-Rams Super Bowl would be like the most epic showdown. If you're looking for the most likely / epic Super Bowl, it would be Rams versus Broncos. And boy, oh boy, I don't know how it would shake out, but that's not something we got to worry too much about yet for another month or so.
I got one more scenario. Broncos Seahawks rematch, grudge match, biggest stage in the world, and the Broncos win in a blowout.
I would love it, man. I would love it, not only because of the Super Bowl 48 revenge, Zach, but the Broncos did lose to McDonald.
Right?
Was it the season opener last year?
Yep.
Was that
and then they lost with Russ in the 2022 or 23 opener?
That's right. Broncos have had despite basically owning the Seahawks all those years, but for the most part, that they were together in the AFC West. The 21st century, well, let's just say 2012 on, Broncos, Seahawks. The Seahawks have their number.
Yeah. I want a chance to flip that on its ear.
That would be sick, dude. That would be sick. Let me see one more, and then we got to dip out of here, guys. William says on the Bo wins to beat out Russ.
Regular season.
Does that include? Oh, yeah. Answer. Does that include playoff wins or just regular season? So just regular season.
Yeah, he needs to win out to win his remaining 3 games, William, and he will surpass Russell Wilson for most wins by a quarterback in his first 2 seasons. Regular season only.
Yeah, who's he tied with now? Big Ben.
Luck, I think it was.
That's true, man. Luck won a lot of games right away.
I don't have it pulled up,
but anyway, it's all good. It's all good. It just illustrates yet again, William, just how rare what we're seeing from the Bo Nix Broncos really is, man. And enjoy it. And I think you guys are enjoying it, but I just mean like savor it, man. We're in a very lucky window, and we suffered a long time, Zach, to finally get here. So Lady D echoes, I'd love to beat the Seahawks. Pearl says, me too, Deanna. Ronk says the NFL's lucky the Broncos lost early in the season against the Colts and Chargers. If they won those games, they'd be undefeated with 14-0. Yeah, not the NFL. The Dolphins are lucky. It's the Dolphins that should be thanking their lucky stars, to be honest with you, because they got to pop the champagne early. Cody Dub, I think Broncos 49ers would be big. 4X Niners are on Denver's team. Yeah, and you would still have that revenge component, 55-10. I remember 1990. It was the 89 season, but Super Bowl played in 1990. That was a brutal. I mean, I think that's the biggest Super Bowl margin on record, right? 55, the Niners 55, the Broncos 10. Brutal. Many years ago. M. Blex, week 1, 2024. Nix is a completely different player than week 16, 2025. Nix. Yeah, agreed. Fully agreed, dude. All right, guys, we got a few messages for you. Then we'll take one last look at the chat, so don't go anywhere.
I actually did pull it up really quickly. This is going back to 1950. Most quarterback wins in their first 2 seasons. Russell Wilson at 24, and Bo Nix is tied with Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, and Dak Prescott with 22. So tied for second place all time since 1950, Chad.
I didn't realize Dak had that many.
Yeah, that rookie season. They went 12-4, I think, that year, 2016.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, real quick. Well, go through the final messages, then we'll grab Shannon before we dip on out.
Another tremendous installment, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle. Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every podcast, check out MHHmerch.com. Get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at Facebook.com/MileHighHuddlePod. You can find us on Instagram at mile_high_huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important as always that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
All right, real quick here, Shannon. Thank you for jumping in with the super chat, my friend.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'm just trying to check out the profile pic. Shannon, thank you for being a member. Appreciate you so much. And the support, especially like I'd say like the last month and a half, you've been on fire, bona fide superstar. So thank you. This win, Shannon says, against the Packers was a huge confidence boost. I don't see the Broncos losing to anyone in the AFC. A Seahawks rematch in the Super Bowl would be epic. I mean, I agree. It's just more confidence boosted on top of confidence. I mean, 11 games of winning. The problem you run into is similar to what you saw from the 2012 Broncos, which was, you start kind of believing it's always going to be thus, and you forget any given Sunday. I mean, guys, if you think back to 2012, the Ravens had no business winning that game. Ray Lewis was freaking on fumes. Yeah, that defense was still legit, but Joe Flacco, no one was afraid of Flacco then. I mean, he's always had a good deep arm and all that stuff, but like they had no business going into Denver and winning, and yet the Broncos allowed it to happen. And so that's why it's like if they did lose one more, Shannon, I'm not going to cry. I still think it's pretty, especially if they manage to beat the Chargers. The division is theirs and probably the 1 seed, because the Patriots have some desperate teams. Like, you're not afraid of the Dolphins on the surface, Zach, but if they win tonight and then they win next week, even if they don't win next week, they still could have something to play for in their season finale against the Patriots. And anyway, the point being here, I agree with you that no one left on the schedule for sure do I really worry too much about, except the Chargers. And that's why, Zach, I'm really hoping it doesn't come down to all the marbles for the division in that game.
Exactly. Shannon, thank you for the super. And that's why I said to Ronk a few minutes ago, let's worry about the Jaguars in front of Denver right now and let the other teams, let those chips fall where they may. I agree with you. Obviously, the rematch in the Super Bowl against Seattle would be epic, but the Broncos have to get there first. Fortunately, like you're talking about with confidence boost, the Broncos have found a way to win in every single manner this season. Come from behind, blowouts with their defense, with their offense, with their special teams. And that is invaluable. That lesson that you learned during the regular season, it's invaluable to take that into the playoffs. They say that a team wants to get hot at the right time. Well, the Broncos have been hot, and it's up to them to just stay hot now going into January.
Colin, thank you for letting us know, dude. You know that if there's ever a point where it seems like we missed a super, it's because we missed it, not because we're ignoring it. So thank you for the reminder on that. We would have been devastated if we would have kept you, if we would have missed you fully tonight. So thank you, bro. Trevi says is still very susceptible to turnovers. Talking about Trevor Lawrence. They're very good, the Jags, but they're beating up on bad teams. Zach, if you look at the Jaguars' schedule this season, 1 sec, I'm going to pull it up real quick. I know we're about out of time, just real quick. So this season, Zach, they are, of course, 10 wins, but here's their schedule so far. Beat up on the Panthers, lost to the Bengals, and then beat the Texans, the Niners, the Chiefs. So those are 3 quality wins, I would say. And then lost to the Seahawks and the Rams. Beat the Raiders in overtime, though. Lost to the Texans. Beat the Chargers. Beat the Cards. Beat the Titans. Beat the Colts. Beat the Jets. So they have a 5-game winning streak. They've won 6 of their last 7. And in that last 7 games, Zach, I mean, they did beat the Texans, or pardon me, they lost to the Texans, but they did beat the Chargers and a Colts team I guess that was the game, Zach, that Danny Dimes went down. So they got a little bit of a break there. But I would say that, I don't know if I would say that, it's a resume completely built on the beating up of inferior teams, but they do have a few signature wins this season, like beating the Texans that early, the Niners, the Chiefs while things were still fresh. Like, credit to them, and then they beat the Chargers.
I think the schedule claim can only be made about the Patriots because that schedule is historically easy. I mean, there's no question about it. Jaguars, like Chad was talking about, you got to give them credit. They beat a team even the Broncos couldn't, whereas they lost to a team the Broncos managed to beat. They're well coached this year with Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence is playing good ball. Travis Etienne at running back is one of the best in the league, but I'm not a believer in Jacksonville. I still think they're kind of phony, and they'll learn the hard way on Sunday.
Rodney, did Marvin Mims Jr. have a stinger? Yes. Yep. So no, I haven't heard anything update on him, but I'm sure he'll be fine for next week. But he took some pretty big hits yesterday, and it could just be the Broncos trying to be smart with him because he's so important to their third phase. But I don't think it's anything to worry about at this stage.
No, and we have practice squad legend Michael Bandy to step up if Mims is absent for whatever reason.
True. All right, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. A mile high salute and a special shout out to the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, and dear members helping us keep the lights on, like Lady D from the original stream and this, Papa Bear, David McElrath, Sam Bam. We also have Boot Boy 90, Chaos Josh, Cullen, multiple supers, Brad Murdoch, Shannon Mills. And I'm not 100% sure on the Facebook side of things because it wouldn't connect to the main page today. So if we missed anybody on Facebook, we will make it up to you. Let us know. But love you guys. Zach and I, as a tandem, we are off until Thursday. But tomorrow at noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, Kelberman's Corner rides again. Hot takes that hold water for the members only on YouTube. Zach, do you got a preview of what you're going to be breaking down?
Keeping y'all in suspense as always, but I hope to see everyone there. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Chad and I will see you Thursday night. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.